Yes, everybody. Vishwas, Narayan. So let me share my screen. So can I? Sure, I will start with my session now. So it's 6:14 now. So I will take a little while. So for the organizer, can I start now? Sure. Okay, fine. DevOps for the developer environment is something which is more unique. Hello. Yeah. Can I start now, sir? Yep. I'll start my session now. So DevOps for the developer environment is something which I really care about because, okay, let me just start off with this. Hey everybody, I'm Vishwas. I'm from Bangalore and I'm here for giving a session on DevOps for the developer environment. Trust me, I saw a lot of changes which was supposed to be done. We actually came out with an approach which every organization should actually be taking care about, and we were actually influenced by a kind of a Netflix but also a kind of an Amazon. So we are just a startup, like a kind of a successful one, and we are just working on the DevOps part. Let me just start with who am I basically. I'm yet to just explore the best of me. I'm yet to explore me itself. So I'm just exploring it and I'm working on different technologies, stacks, and things like that. But I'm against it also. So I'm also a community guy. I just love problem statements, just love to solve them. So what we dwell is a problem statement, nothing more, nothing less. Everything is a problem statement. There are new problem statements popping up. There are new problem statements which come and say that, hey, this is what technology was all about to you yesterday, or this is what technology was to you tomorrow. But I just thought something was supposed to be solved, but we are not yet solving it. What's our biggest disease? Overthinking, never thinking about the bad guys or anything bad that can happen, and overestimating the anything that can really happen. So there can be a DDoS attack, there can be anything that can be happening, but we are adamant to the fact that it exists. So I love Docker, so I don't care whether you build this or that application. If you have Dockerized it, I love it, and I want to make sure that I enjoy that process. So from dev to ops, so from development to operations, that's what we care about. So that's where the DevOps comes into the picture. It's independent of physical, virtual, cloud, and any other platforms that we are thinking about. So that's a general DevOps structure where testing everything comes up into the picture. But in data science, that's where I always take care about. I feel data storage, and there are some different sources in which we will be considering at every given point in time. Like everything has to be in that spot itself. So there is a data storage system, there is a different data source from different sources. It can be an edge, it can be a cloud, it can be a blob storage trigger or Cosmos DB trigger or anything which can happen. Events can also happen. So we collect, we transform, normalize, and other steps. So what we do next is we build the model and we just try to deploy the model. So over the course of time, what we spend money and told to our production is you are free with an access to the production for a month. And what we saw was a humongous way in which we could have ever improvised the speed of an application, the speed of everything. So basically, I started as a Flutter developer. So meanwhile, I just started working on different technologies and different aspects of what technology means to me. So what you need to know is test your production, open it for all folks, and never make it like a complex it is. So know what it is. So to get to know what it is, you have to open source it. So this is Bob Ross, who used to paint for all. So he just cares what he wants to deliver, right? So this is the guy who influenced me and said that I just do things because I love it. And you should be like that and never give a chance that production goes down at any given point of time. And even if the production goes down, and you should be in a position where you get to know why the production has really gone wrong. So do one thing, do the experiment, come give a talk. Trust me, I have attended a lot of talks, lot of sessions outside of this entire vicinity of like my cubicle and things like that. So what I do is I listen to the other people experience. I just go to their talks and I just come back and I say to myself, okay, this is what we need. And I love talking. So talking is my favorite part. So I don't love to miss any of the sessions that is coming up. And right now I'm just loving it. And then get to know what is the repetitive stuff and stop doing it. Because you know that it can be automated, you know that it can be made sure that I don't do the same thing back to back to back to back to back. Then why do you do it? It's stupidity. So what I think is stop doing those things, just leverage it to some people because there are other developers out there who really need a job and things like that. So meanwhile, give that dev a cookie. That's what it is all about. So if you're a web dev, you use a cookie. And if you're kind of a microservice and then serverless architecture guy, you need to just think about like everything and anything that is going to happen there. So do what you can with what you have where you are. So whatever might be the position, you're a startup, you have an access to some GCP, AWS, Azure, or anything, just learn it, tinker with it, just go on with it. That's what my future things also say. So according to my research, which I did with some of the dev folks and some of the practitioners, so the dev folks, the practitioners, some of them are 1 year experience, 5% of the DevOps engineers, 68% of them were 5 years plus experienced. What I learned was we are just procrastinating with the architecture, and it's a problem statement right now. Because we say, my architecture is not that great. We are just supposed to work here. We are supposed to work there. But what's the big deal with it if you don't know how to really make sure that it's working fine? So get to know your hardware, get to know your software, get to know your compilers, get to know everything about your thing. And what you have to do is, it is complex because you're making it complex. It's still the run, init, deploy, up, post, and other things included. That's an higher level thing. And like if you are a beginner, you should always be knowing what are the methods and things like that. So what I want to say is forget stack, forget build or service, forget DDoS. I'm saying you forget CI/CD also. What I say is make it, break it, fix it just in the beginning. If you are launching a product, make sure that you go from a monolithic to microservice-based approach. You go from a monolithic to server-based approach. But in the meanwhile, never forget that you're a developer and you're supposed to make it, break it, fix it. So fix it in style. No matter what, fix it in style. So then just go on and do the repair. Never repeat the mistake for not testing it for scale, and never complain about the language, because we still say that, hey, this is still an interpreter, it's not working, this is compiler, it's working. Just leave that concept, just start working with it. So one does not simply test in production, sorry to say that, for production. So because you are supposed to scale an application back and forth in action, so you're not supposed to think about the language or anything, you're supposed to test your application. Everything is just in the milliseconds. So after that, don't forget to make a lot of money, because your money makes a lot of sense to other people in your organization also. And make sure that you get to know what is the value of the money, because every time when you are just thinking about production, you're not just getting the cost of like, hey, this is happening for this long time, this is happening for that long time. And why we bought the production out for a month, at every like 2 to 3 months, we get our production out for the production, like everybody can access it. So what we can do is we can get to know what the real system is, and people will get motivated. So that's it, folks. So thank you so much. If you want, you can join me up in here for networking in the room number 3. I think the coordinator, I'll be putting this in the chat so you guys can hop in and ask me any questions if you have on like what did we do, how did we do, and it's my pleasure that I can answer something. So meet you guys there in the networking room. So bye, folks.